laugh the night my husband suggested I take this with me. A telephone. I was just going out for ice cream, but on the way back home, my car just quit. A simple trip had left me stranded. Then I remembered I had the cellular phone. They sent a mechanic within minutes. What a relief. He fixed the problem, and I was back on my way. Of course, the ice cream melted, but thanks to this, I got home safe and sound.
You're safe with New Wave Cellular. Call 644-1111 today.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. Now we're here at the home of Gary Mason, who is a professional hunting and fishing guide, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his career. Hi, Gary.
Hey, Mary Jane, it's good to have you.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here. You've got a beautiful home here. You've got a lot of ducks and decoys and duck calls and all kinds of things like that.
Got a lot of hunting stuff and stuff that I guess you can kind of tell a sportsman lives here.
Yeah, you sure can. Well, tell us a little bit about your career. How'd you get started and what kind of things do you do?
Well, of course, I guide professionally for a living, and I got started back when I was real young in high school, carrying buddies, you know, hunting and fishing with buddies, and it got to where every once in a while somebody would call me and say, well, I've got a friend coming into town and you've got a boat, you know, can you carry him fishing or can you carry him hunting? So I did, and back when I was about 24, 25 years old, I started guiding professionally with Steve McAdams, who's another local guide, real good friend of mine from Paris, and Steve and I got to guiding together duck and goose hunting, and then I wanted to expand that and get into the fishing part of it, and as I went on, I learned that I could only fish, you know, 2 or 3 times or 2 or 3 months a year. I could only guide duck and goose hunting a couple of months a year. So in order to turn it into a full-time career, I had to find something else to do. Luckily, I was able to start going to South Dakota and guiding up there. I now give sporting clays lessons, which sporting clays is just like golf with a shotgun, and there's a lot of...
just like golf with a shotgun.
Just like golf, and just about that hard, too, I'll tell you. But the only difference is you're shooting at a clay target instead of a little white ball.
Yeah.
But that's how I got started. It's took a period of about 8 or 9 years for me to really be able to make this a full-time career. But now that I have, it's very rewarding. I've met some of the finest people in the nation, you know, and a lot of folks who I would have never got to have met had I not been in the career that I was in.
So in addition to guiding for regular people around here, our friends and neighbors, everybody knows around here, you also guide for some celebrities. Tell us about that.
We've had some celebrities hunt and fish with us. Steve and I have had, the last couple of years, have had the Grand Ole Opry bunch, which has included Mike Snyder, who I think y'all have just got through shooting the show with over at his home in Gleason. Bob Whitaker, who's the manager of the Grand Ole Opry, and folks like Porter Wagner and Little Jimmy Dickens and Jimmy C. Newman and Jim Ed Brown, and stars of that caliber have been down here, right here in our hometown of Big Sandy, hunting and fishing with us. And some other stars that I've guided is Dave Butts, who was a Washington Redskin football player, a really great guy and a good shot, I might add. I'm going to say that because he's about twice as big as I am, and if he was to see this, I want him to know what I think about it. And of course, folks like Porter Wagner, and I've guided Ken Herbeck from Minnesota Twins. Another gentleman that I really had a big time hunting with was a gentleman that was 87 years old by the name of Les Cuba. And Les Cuba is a real famous wildlife artist but more than a wildlife artist, he's the man that invented the Coca-Cola sign.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
And
he made the logo for the
He made
Coca-Cola.
the logo at 18 years old back in the early 1920s. They paid him $500 for the logo, and he said he thought he was rich. But he traveled around painting Coca-Cola signs on stores and barns and stuff, and didn't like the old block lettering they was using, so he decided to do it in script. And sure enough, the big wigs of Coca-Cola liked it and hired him to paint his script on it. So.
And he's 87 years old?
Yeah, he was 87 years old when he hunted with me. And so that was a highlight. He was a real nice guy. But I've met some real interesting people, you know, that weren't celebrities. You know, you meet a lot of people that, I know there's one gentleman that we guide hunting that is I guess a he runs a funeral home, and his name is Clyde.
Clyde.
And Clyde will give you his card, and it says, "Take a last ride with Clyde." And on the bottom of the card it says, "We'll be the last person to let you down."
Oh no!
So I've met some real interesting characters.
Oh gosh, it sounds like it. Do you have any favorite of the hunting and fishing and everything? Is there anything that you really prefer to do?
You know, a lot of people ask me that, and I guess you go from season to season, you know, and once, you know, our duck season just ended, so I'm glad that it's over, you know, that duck season's over, even though I enjoy it immensely. Now I'm ready to get into the fishing season, which is just starting.
Yeah.
And by moving from season to season, you really never get real tired of any one thing. My job changes so much, and I'm fixing to start traveling to boat shows and doing seminars and stuff for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you know, here and there. My job changes so much that I never have time to get tired of it.
And you do travel a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I have to in order to maintain my career, because I have to. There's a lot of work I can do here at home, but also there's voids that I have to fill when things are not in season here at home.
Right.
And I do that by traveling to other parts of the country.
Well, tell us about your seminars that you do.
Well, I do both duck and goose calling seminars, and I do fishing seminars.
That's why you got so many duck
calls
calls
laying
here.
around.
He's got a big collection of duck calls here.
I've been very fortunate that a lot of the duck call manufacturers all live close to us. You know, a lot of the best ones like Mike McLemore and Harold Knight and Glenn Scobie, and a lot of those guys have give me calls throughout the years, and so I've got a nice little collection started. It's not worth anything much to anybody else, but it's worth a lot to me. We started out, you know, we just ended up duck hunting, and now we're going to go into fishing, and so there's a lot of boat and travel shows going on. And I travel to those boat and travel shows like Indianapolis and Louisville and St. Louis and those type shows, and do fishing seminars. And basically what I do my seminars on are bluegill and red ear sun fishing, or pan fishing. There's a lot of folks out there like Bill Danson, Roland Martin, those kind of guys that do it on bass fishing. And then of course Steve McAdams is real popular with the crappie fishing. He does a lot of seminars on crappie fishing around the nation. And I just kind of felt like that there was, you know, everybody likes to bluegill fish. And Kentucky Lake is just full of good bluegill. I'll start out in the 1st of May and go all the way through the middle of June and not do anything else but bluegill fish every day.
Good long season.
Good long season, and anybody that likes to wet a hook likes to see that cork go under.
Yeah.
So.
Well, tell us about sponsorship for these things.
I've been real lucky. Over the past few years, I've picked up some national sponsors. They're starting to, a lot of the national sponsors are starting to believe that guides can help them out, because a lot of tournament fishermen, when they get through fishing at the end of the day, they don't want folks to know what they're using, because that's their livelihood. You know,
Right.
If I was a bass tournament fisherman and I placed pretty high in a tournament, some guy walks up to me and asks me what lure I'm using, I'm not going to tell him.
Why, sure.
Because I might need to use that lure on the next lake, you know, and I don't want to compete with that. But as a professional guide, whatever I'm using to catch fish with, that's what my customers use, because
that's your job,
that's
to
my
help
job.
them catch.
Right. So a lot of these national sponsors are picking up on that, and I've picked up over the last few years Motor Guide and Zebco, Quantum, which are all Brunswick Corporation products, Johnson Outboards, Champion Boats, and Gripper Baits, and ECS Anchor Company. All these are national sponsors, and for just a local boy that started out, you know, growing up right here, it's really been good for me to pick up these national sponsors. Also have some local sponsors like Tennessee Trolling Motor. Jimmy Scarborough there has been good to me, and Had a Call Grocery has been good to me here locally, and Paris Landing State Park. Those folks have all been real good to me over the last few years.
Where do you work out of here?
Basically, I work out of my home. I guided out of Buchanan Resort and Paris Landing State Park. And then, of course, our waterfowl hunting is done through Steve McAdams, and Steve does all the bookings. But basically, I guess if I've got a home base, it's right around the Paris Landing Buchanan Resort area where I fish out of. And then, of course, then traveling, you know, to different parts of the country when I hunt pheasants and stuff.
Okay. Well, tell us about the crappie-thon.
The crappie-thon is something that's been going on at this lake for several years. And
that's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
It is a big deal. They asked me to become the tournament director for crappie-thon back last year. They didn't have a director on this lake, on the southern part of it. On the northern part of it, the Kentucky section, crappie-thon has been a big thing for many, many years. The last few years, it's kind of dwindled in Tennessee a little bit. And to the sportsmen, you know, we all kind of fussed about crappie-thon being coming to our lake because it made a lot of other fishermen get out on the lake earlier. You know, when you're talking about starting to fish around March 15th, 16th, you know, when the crappie-thon starts, most people would wait until the end of March or 1st of April to start crappie fishing. Now they're buying crappie-thon badges and going earlier. Well, we all had to compete with that and made us a little jealous, you know, seeing all those boats on the lake. But it is a good thing for our local merchants. I know Dale Barker up at Haddicalls has been in the crappie-thon a long time, and several of our other merchants, like Kirk's Trading Post down at the lake and Lakeview. And what I think helps more than anything is it gets the fishermen out earlier in the year. And it gets them out there on the lake, which they got to eat breakfast somewhere, and they got to buy gas somewhere, and they've got to buy, you know, bait somewhere. So it gets the people in the stores earlier. And after I took over the directorship of the crappie-thon here on the southern end of Tennessee, they agreed to having a major tournament here at Paris Landing. And so this year we will have a major tournament at Paris Landing, and we need about 135 boats, and it only costs $50 a boat. Doesn't matter how many people you have in the boat.
Oh.
And someone's going to walk away with a brand new Ranger aluminum boat with a new motor and trolling motor on it, just for that $50.
Wow! So that's the first prize.
That is the prize that we're going to draw that.
Oh.
Just out of a hat. Everybody that enters got a chance, whether you catch a fish or not.
Well, that sounds pretty good. How about the top fish catcher? How does that work?
What's going to happen is the top fish catcher will wind up winning prizes and money, and then also the chance to go to the Classic, which is going to be held in Chattanooga in June. And once they go to the Classic, they have the opportunity to win a lot of money, just like the Bassmasters Classic. This crappie-thon Classic it's got a lot of money prizes and stuff like that for them to win.
Well,
I think Steve McAdams and Jim Perry, two local boys, have been down there, and Brent Moody from down around Trenton, and some of them boys have been to the Classic 2 or 3 times. So we've got some local people that are good fishermen, you know, that are going to some of these national things.
Okay, well that sounds great. Gary, thank you so much for being with us. You have an exciting career, and I know one that a lot of people would like to have a part of. I'm sure a lot of men are envious of you, and probably a lot of women too. There's a lot of women nowadays. We're mainly focusing here on men, but there are a lot of women that's into fishing and hunting these days too, aren't there?
And you know, I tell people, especially the ladies, not to let this man's world thing hold them back. You know, there's so many opportunities out there in the outdoors for women, you know, and for ladies, and what be it fishing, bow hunting, you know, whatever a lady wants to do, there's something out there for her too. And the thing about it is a lot of stuff that the men are doing, the ladies can do, that there's not many ladies doing it. And right now is the time to get in it, you know.
Like what, for instance?
Well, like bow hunting, bow shooting. You know, there's some real good local people around. There's fishing, the fishing industry. Probably the percentage of women that are fishing tournaments, you know, right now is very slim. And I don't know of any women that are fishing crappie tournaments, you know, on a national basis. And the opportunities are there. I mean, women are just as good a fishermen and probably have more patience than men do. But I know men run all over the lake a lot of times when they should be sitting still.
Okay. Well, if anyone's interested in contacting you about having you help them out with their hunting or fishing, guiding them or whatever, who do they need to call? And
they can call here at my home at area code 901-593-5429. They can reach me through Paris Landing State Park, which is 642-4311. and then if they can't get me anywhere else, they can how to call grocery. I might be sitting up there drinking a Coke.
They just have to kind of call around and hunt you down, huh?
Well, they can leave
an answer machine.
I have
an answer machine.
Yeah, I sure do. And they can leave a message on my answer machine, and I'll be glad to return their call.
Okay.
So I get a lot of buddies that call me up, you know, and want to leave messages on my answer machine that I don't return their calls. But
well, I imagine you're so busy, it's hard probably for them to catch you at home.
It really is.
Or really anywhere, so.
I stay busier than I really anticipated being, especially the last 2 years. But, you know, you've got to make hay when the sun's shining, and there may come a time when I'm not busy. So as long as the economy is up and everybody's fishing and hunting, though, it's really great. A couple of things that I would like to say, especially to the younger folks out there, and I talk to a lot of young kids, if you want to get in the field of the outdoors, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. I had a lot of people tell me that I couldn't become a professional guide and that I couldn't be popular and that I couldn't be successful at it. And to those folks that said that, now they call me up and tell me, well, I seen you in a magazine, or I seen you in the newspaper, I seen you here, and I appreciate that. But to a younger person that would like to get in the outdoors field, you know, stay in school, make good grades, stay away from drugs and alcohol, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something, because your only limitations are yourself, not someone else. So, but we appreciate all the kids watching us and wanting to learn stuff.
Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to have to go. I think you've got an important appointment that we don't want you to miss, so we're going to have to get out of here so you can get gone. But thank you for being with us this week. And would you come back and be with us again sometime?
I'd love to, anytime.
Okay, great.
I appreciate y'all coming, and you're welcome to have you here in my home anytime.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And stay with us. We'll have more Friends and Company right after this.
Special Moments Video Production Service at 208 North Brewer can now transfer your 8mm and Super 8 film, photos, and slides to video for easy viewing and sharing with friends and loved ones. Our office hours are 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and by appointment on Saturdays. Call Special Moments at 644-9303 for more information. At Budget TV and VCR Service, we have 2 full-time factory-trained technicians to service all brands of TVs and VCRs, as well as stereos, microwaves, and camcorders. We are your authorized warranty station for RCA, GE, and Zenith TVs, VCRs, and projection TVs. We have all of the latest testing equipment and stock a full line of TV and VCR replacement parts. That's Budget TV and VCR Service, open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturday, located at 130 East Washington Street in downtown Paris.
Well, mark your calendars and tell your friends, because Mike Snyder is going to be on Friends and Company February 15th and 18th, right here on Paris Cablevision Local Channel 3.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. Now we're out here at Johnson Park, where with us is a very special guest. His name